Some of the most memorable movies to exist usually have one thing in common, and it's not a triumphant comeback or a mushy love story. It's an action or mission that constitutes an offense that may be prosecuted by the state and punishable by law. Crime. Tonight, five criminals hit the streets to make the score of their lives. Friendships will be altered, foes will prevail, crime will be at an all time high as we draft our top five crime movies. This is a Comic Talkers production, and you are listening to Just for Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B, as always, on another episode of Just for Flicks. With me, as always, my main man, my Jules Winfrey to my Vincent Vega, Mr. B-Dog, Mr. Brandon. What's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Why wouldn't you just throw something like Bonnie and Clyde in that conversation?
No, dude, I gotta get a little.
And I better be Clyde in that situation. Bonnie.
It's crime themed tonight. It's crime themed.
Yeah, so this is going to kick off our crime sessions, but we couldn't do this without some guests. First off, I want to bring back a good friend of ours. He is from John's Comics with Kids. You know him as John. John, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. I'm very pumped on this topic. Big crime fan.
We still have you on our comic book podcast, Comic Talkers, but this is the first time you've been on the movie one. So welcome with us.
Thank you. No, it was my first love. I actually went to film school, so I'm very, very pumped on this.
Awesome. And we bring two members from Comic Talkers to the team. You know them as Big Daddy Will.
Sup?
And Keri.
Hi.
We're gonna come up with a nickname. We'll get you a nickname soon.
You can't call me KP anymore.
I know.
Ooh, I'm KO.
KO now.
Ooh, the knockout. I like it.
KO. How are you guys doing tonight?
Tired.
Well,
aren't we all?
Yeah.
How we're starting this off with our guests and with Pat and myself, we are going to be doing a crime movie draft. How this is going to go down. The only movies that we are not including are courtroom dramas. Those are its own separate thing. We just went
you need the Law and Order thing. I can't even do it.
What was it? You just need to throw that meme. Give me my and then all of a sudden but we're editing that in. Anyway. Edit it in right here. Anyway, but we are going to include gangster films in this thing. Anything crime, gangster, anything with serial killers are going to be welcomed in this.
Welcome to open arms.
And always with the draft, we're going to be rolling dice a little bit to see who gets first, get to place them. Once they are off the board, they are off the board completely, and this is a snake draft. So we're going to be going swivel back and forth till it's done. Each person will have 5 picks, and we will go over picks that we might have chosen or picks that we absolutely just said no to. So Pat,
let's do it.
Turn it over to you. Get the dice out. Let's see what we got.
You doing a D20 or a D100?
Let's do D20 this time. I think we went
I have D12.
D20.
Actually, I got lots of dice.
So we'll go with ladies first on this one. So Keri, you're gonna go first for your dice pick. I'm gonna do it right here. Let's see what you got.
Don't be cheating.
I'm not cheating. Got a 9 right there. I'm gonna go with Will next. Will got 17.
Woo! Ooh, tough to beat.
Rigged. No. Come out, KO.
John, I'm gonna go with you next.
Hey, buddy.
John got 7.
Lucky.
Brandon?
I like that movie.
11.
Lucky number 11.
And myself, 10.
So lowest numbers go first, right? That's what we're going with.
Well, if that's the case, then you'd be the last person.
Exactly.
If you want that, that's fine. But
I mean, I'm going to be either first or last at this point, so it doesn't matter.
Ricky Bobby style.
All right.
You're not on fire, Ricky Bobby.
The first is gonna be
So,
last.
we're gonna go lowest. John actually gets the first pick where he wants to be. Do you want to be first, second, third, fourth, or fifth?
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go first. Okay, Keri, you get to choose next. You get to choose your position. 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, or 5 now. You really want to make Willie mad? 5.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna go with middle of the pack. I'm gonna say 3.
3. Okay. Pat, you get to choose next.
I'm gonna go 5.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm sorry, Will. I had to do it.
He
I'll
wants
go
the double
fine.
pick.
It's only my favorite number.
I'll go second, and then Will, you get the 4th. So I got you
Alright.
close to the end, but no cigar there, Will. Sorry, bud.
It's okay.
You'll haunt
He's,
Patrick next
he's
stream.
crying inside.
You'll put a bounty on his head.
Bounty.
Smile on the outside, crying on the inside.
It's all love. It's all love. How you doing?
What's these fingers down here now?
Finger heart.
All right. So we're gonna start off with John. John's got the first pick of the draft.
On the clock.
All right. I chose the first pick because I knew that I had to do something incredibly conventional because the rest of my list is going to be probably shenanigans, and I just want to make sure that this gets started right. And we're picking The Godfather because if anybody picks anything but The Godfather #1 in a crime draft, they should be banished. So Godfather Part 1.
Okay.
I
So
wasn't a fan of it.
see,
It does seem
It's
to
the
appeal to
horse head
men
instead,
more than women,
okay?
so I don't blame you. Sorry.
Better.
They had me till the horse head. That was it.
so I challenged myself and said no gangster films because I like gangster films enough, but I feel like I would automatically go to Road to Perdition, and I do that a lot. So I
Good
wanted
movie.
to challenge myself. But I am going with a crime movie that actually had an actor win a Best Supporting role for it. And his iconic line from that movie is, "I don't care. I'm going with The Fugitive. I'm taking Fugitive off the board first." It's one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite Harrison Ford movies. By far, one of the best performances from Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones is amazing in that film.
Richard Kimball.
It's funny you say this, the Academy Awards supporting actor thing, because I just skimmed through my list here, and it's amazing how many of these movies have a supporting actor or actor Academy Award win. Like it's impressive.
It's one of those movies that it's a long movie. You have to be prepared for that because it's like near a 3-hour movie.
You're talking to the guy that picked The Godfather.
Well, but there's so like you know what happens, but it's the truth that
Says the man that just got done with the Lord of the Rings marathon.
next year extended edition. No,
You there? Yes.
I only have one of those.
Like I'm gonna challenge myself next time.
next year. Let's go through.
That's gonna be the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings.
There
all
we
together.
go. We got a day and a half planned. Then we got this. All right. So, Miss Keri, you are up on the clock.
All right, I'm gonna go out with big guns. My personal favorite movie from way back in 1999, Boondock Saints.
Oh man.
Yep. My three of my favorite actors,
pick.
and just like mad love for Sean Patrick Flannery. He's an awesome dude. Got to meet him, but it's a cult classic now. It had the biggest budget, I think, of like $6 million, and only brought in like $30,000 in the box office.
The disparity.
Yeah.
Dude,
William Dafoe, man.
Such an underrated Willem Dafoe role, I think.
Oh yes.
In my opinion, like just the whole like when he shows up to the house in drag and he's like
Yes.
seeing the guy, like it's just hilarious, man. And then the guy that plays Rocco, like great when they
David Delarocco. He's the same person in real life as he is in any movie he's ever in. He just walks on the set like.
So it's not typecasting. It's just Tim
It's
casting.
just him.
Who we got?
All right. So we go to Willie next for his first.
All right. So I have quite a varying list, but I think I want to try to focus on the ones that nobody is even going to think about. So the first one that I'm going to pick for my list was one of the Marx Brothers movies, A Night at the Opera,
Oh, okay.
because that technically is a crime film because it has to do with an attempted murder and a shop at a mall. So, but it's like a very fun, entertaining movie. Lots of comedy, lots of slapstick humor.
Great
That
movie.
it gets me every time, and the music. God, the music. The Marx Brothers were probably some of the most talented musicians I have ever seen on film.
I love it.
Awesome.
Would not have predicted that. Great pick.
Yeah, that's a great pull, Will. All right. Patty B, you got back to back.
I know I got back to back, and I know I'm probably I don't know if this is. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. My number one pick is a 1995 classic. It is a Coen Brothers film. It is Fargo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
funny,
just the
funny
nuance.
you bring that one up. I was
He was looking at
it
it.
came up on Google search today out of nowhere on my feed.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I had Boondock Saints in my top 5, so I had to just take it. So
It's all right.
um,
So you guys wipe out your bounties. There we go.
I was the first victim tonight. No,
Hey,
no, but
SPF is my boy. I would be doing a disservice.
no,
if
like
I
I
just...
said, it's an it's an
Hey,
underrated.
we're
movie.
Facebook friends, okay?
No, but just like the nuances between all the characters within Fargo, like all the lines, all the witty stuff that goes on, and then not to mention the crime. Me and Brandon have talked about it.
Emotional.
We talked about it full length. What's
I will
that?
say, like, a lot of Coen Brothers movies will fit into this category tonight. And I've got one that's really high on my list that I'm hoping to get, but it wasn't Fargo.
I already, I got you. I got you. No, but it's a great movie. I'm a big William H. Macy fan myself, so I think it's one of his.
Not taken seriously in that film though. Like every time, I told you, I didn't do it. Like,
damn, I'm cooperating here. I'm cooperating,
and then he runs.
Yeah, but if you don't get that true coat, yeah, it's great. And then Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi. So underrated.
I think he should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor in that.
Something, man, like
110.
Oh, daddy, the whole cop pullover scenes, great. So no, I'm taking Fargo as my number 1, and then my number 2. And I don't know if people would pick this. This is kind of like a underrated one for me, or a personal favorite one of mine, but an underrated one to I think a lot of people is Jackie Brown. I'm taking as my number 2.
I figured that was.
It's one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films, if not my favorite of all time, or favorite of his of all of them. Just the story. It's the perfect mixture of crime, love, and everything in between.
I've just bonded with you in a big way now, sir. That movie is criminally underrated in Tarantino's on the list of Tarantino films. The fact that it's not routinely top 3 for people shocks me.
I think it's Samuel Jackson's best role ever. Like, I'm being honest. Like, as Ordell Roby, like everything he does in that movie, like he's a snake.
Yeah.
He's only out for himself, and like he makes that clear from the very get go. The whole scene with Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's only in it for
2 minutes,
right?
Yeah.
But it's like an iconic scene within that movie, and it's just the whole thing. I mean, Robert De Niro's in it, and he's like not even like a big deal in the movie.
No. And Robert Forster and Pam Grier steal that. It's Tarantino's Casablanca. It ultimately is this like great tragic love story. So good.
It is good. But yeah, no, Jackie Brown is
good with just 5 minutes of Robert De Niro. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
All right.
He doesn't have that many lines in the movie. Is what's crazy.
That's a good thing. I'm down with that. I'm okay with it because I'm not a De Niro fan. I like him in certain movies, and that is about it. And it's sad because it's one that John and I have talked about too. There are only 2 movies I can stand him in, and they are both Scorsese films, and that is it. That is Goodfellas, and that is
we both go.
Dude, not to mention too, Michael Bowen, I think, and Michael Keaton are in it as well.
I think, I remember
Yeah, Keaton's great because it's the same role he plays in Out of Sight. It's the same cop he plays in both. Yeah. So when Tarantino was finishing Jackie Brown, Soderbergh was shooting a different. He was shooting Out of Sight, both of them based on Elmore Leonard novels, and both had the same cop in FBI agent in it. But he only needed Keaton's character for like 2 days of shooting, versus obviously he's huge in Jackie Brown. And so as Jackie Brown was wrapping, they were made by separate companies. They were looking to cast the part, and Tarantino and Soderbergh talked, and then Keaton was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it." And he just rolled over and played the same character in his
That's
2
cool.
scenes
Like
or whatever.
That's Ray Nicolette, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
Ray Nicolette, and you see him at the very beginning when he's kind of dating J Lo, and then I think he's at the end when they arrest Sam Jackson, who also made a cameo in both. He's also in both films. Sam Jackson is getting put into the back of the car with Clooney at the end.
I love the way Sam Jackson looks in the movie too, with the big long ponytail and
For sure.
the kangaroo hat.
Never. I'm sorry, I'll never be a fan of that. I'd love to see the after board from Pulp Fiction more than I'd like to. All right, well, let's go to you. What's your number 2?
All right. So for my number 2, because we're pulling out cult classics, I decided to go with this one. This is one of those movies that it's like every year during the anniversary of the movie, me and my dad always try to get together, make a glass of White Russians, and sit down and watch it. The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
I love this movie. It is such a subtle humor movie, and people don't understand when they won't understand when I say that I put this in a crime film category, but I mean it is a crime film because it has to do with embezzling of money, identity fraud, missing people, Russian mafia groups.
I mean, it's ultimately the Coen brothers version of like a private eye film, like a classic detective film.
Yeah, and it's just so funny because like every time I watch it, I feel so bad for the dude because he just all this bad stuff is happening to him, and it's just his life. He's just accepting it because he doesn't know what to do about it. It's just such an odd scenario for him that he doesn't even know how to react half the time.
You know, when you said that, I knew exactly what you're talking about because I've walked into those moments with you and with you and your dad doing that. So
sitting down drinking White Russians, yeah.
So it's funny because Keri and I both started laughing because it was just like we know exactly what movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we go back to Keri for her second.
All right. So this is by far got to be my favorite like new crime movie. Oh my god, if you haven't seen it, you're missing out. You have to see it. It's 2019 Adam Sandler. It's Murder Mystery.
Murder Mystery. Okay.
Murder Mystery.
And they've already made a sequel to it, right? Isn't there a sequel?
Oh, and that one's fabulous. It's actually better than the first one, but the first one kind of falls better into the crime. The other one is they just kidnap a Maharaja on his wedding. So blow up Paris.
All right. I got my second one down. This is another cult classic. One that people tend to forget about when you really think about this, and it's recent. It's actually within the last 6-7 years. And it's not one you would think because it's about a getaway driver. Go with Baby Driver. This is iconic. I love the music. I love everything that goes with it. I love what was it? What was that?
I said, "Is it Boss Baby?"
No. But I like Ansel. Ansel Elgort is amazing in this film But not only that, you have John Bernthal, John Hamm in this film. This movie is very underrated. I'm shocked when I talk to people, nobody has seen this movie. And it's like, why? Like, I love all the scenes with Baby Driver, especially the one when John Bernthal's like pointing. It's like, let's go. And then he just backs up and he's like, no, I'm not listening to you fools. I'm doing it my way, and this is what's going to happen. So we go to John for his next back-to-back picks.
Yes. So thankfully after two phenomenal Coen Brothers picks, my pick didn't get snaked. I'm going with Miller's Crossing, and it still is my favorite Coen Brothers movie. As much as I love Big Lebowski, which is right underneath it. What I love about Miller's Crossing is the first time you watch it is completely indecipherable between the accents and the incredibly complicated plot and all the lies and these two warring gangs and the amazing Gabriel Byrne performance. It's almost impossible to decipher. However, every time you watch it, I promise you, you'll figure out more and more of what's happening in the story and the ways in which these characters are twisting and turning each other. The dialogue flies so tightly. Like every line is important and everything is built on the secrets that each character is keeping from one another and how they're manipulating each other. Great performances. John Turturro is so phenomenal as the skeezy, backstabbing character, and the way that he is manipulating Byrne and the way Byrne is manipulating him, and all these other characters dance to their tune. Albert Finney, great. Marcia Gay Harden's phenomenal. Like so many great performances. So just great all around. I really, really just absolutely
That's a really deep cut Coen Brothers movie. I as soon as you said it though, I knew it because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I have seen it because Barton Fink is another one. That's
great one. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and obviously they're just great filmmakers, period. And you could probably make a list of just their movies and probably qualify for crime, just a great top 5 crime movies.
Mhm.
But for me, it's something about it. Every time I've watched it, I've liked it more. And I love those old detective films, and it's obviously throwing a lot of love to those old bogey era kind of films. So yeah. And then I got to get at least one serial killer movie in here. And I'm going to go with what I think is the greatest police procedural true crime film I've ever seen, which is Zodiac. It's just an absolute phenomenal masterpiece. And it talk about like recreating crime. Like they put so much time and effort into recreating and making every single criminal act seem authentic because they only used the crimes that had witnesses that survived. So the crime scenes that you see in the movie are all based on eyewitness accounts because they don't know the identity of the Zodiac. So it's all kind of based on as much evidentiary kind of proof that they can build it around. And of course, 3 phenomenal performances. Gyllenhaal, phenomenal. Downey Jr., so good. Mark Ruffalo, so absolutely fantastic. They basically have an Avengers team, if you really want to think about it, I guess. Really just beautifully laid out. And then that David Fincher just so tightly captures the paranoia, the fear that a city was being gripped by during that time. So yeah, nightmare worthy stuff, but perfect.
So I'll go with my third pick, and it is going to be kind of one of the only movies I will sit here and say I love with Tom Cruise in it. There's only 2 movies I love with him in it.
Mummy.
The courtroom drama.
No.
Good Men. And the other one is Minority Report. And I am going with Minority Report as my third movie. This is to me by far one of the most underrated Steven Spielberg films. I enjoy this film a lot. It is about pretty much a precog initiative that they have 3 people kind of being able to see the future before crimes are committed. And it did eliminate a lot of crime in the cities. So before it goes national, witnesses a case that happened so many years ago. Well, it comes to backfire on him because now he is framed for a murder that could possibly happen. And now everybody is chasing him. I enjoy this film just because I like the twists and turns that we get in this film. And it's sad because this also involves another actor I'm not a huge fan of, and that is Colin Farrell. But I even enjoy him in this movie. He plays that perfect ass that you want in a movie, and that's what we get. It's sad because both those actors I don't like things.
My favorite Colin Farrell movie is Phone Booth.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
I put the same
Shout out Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, dude, Batman and Robin is one of my favorites.
God, no! How dare you?
I knew I put a dagger in Brandon's heart right there.
That was the real crime of this show.
Yeah, that is.
Hey, crimes will be committed.
You'll just
When
put a
it
bounty
comes-
on your head even more, buddy. It's one of those movies that Minority Report is just a fun watch. Neil McDonough is in this movie, and I think he's fantastic in this.
Yeah.
I can't always remember the name of the actor, but he is the one that we find out is behind all this. Of course, he's from The Exorcist. He's from quite a few things beforehand. He was the priest they brought in The Exorcist. Can't remember his name, but he's a Swedish actor, and he played a very maniacal cop. It's the bad cop, good cop thing, and I enjoy it. It's futuristic, and too, it has a guy from Fargo in it as well. The crazy murderer. That is, yeah, he is the doctor that gives him new eyes. No, people forget about that one. I enjoy him in that movie. I enjoy him more in that movie than Fargo. I'm putting it there right now.
What, you like him? What is Gayer Grimsby? Grimsby? That's his character's name.
Yeah.
I think it's Peter. I don't have the name in front of me, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's the doctor that gives him new eyes in the movie. And then what was it? Because he's the one that, oh yeah, I have a history with you too. So of course he tortures him to get him the eyes, but he does give him the eyes eventually. But I love that. I like that role. I love his little bit roles that he has here and there, and it's just phenomenal. I enjoy this movie. One of my favorite crime movies of all time, and it's futuristic on top of it. So, Minority Report made my number 3, so we turn it over to Keri again for her number 3. Talk about KO.
So, for my third pick, I think I'm gonna have to go with one of the most kick-ass hippie feeling movies ever. Point Break, 1991,
Ooh.
not 2015.
You're really making an enemy out of
God.
Patrick.
That's 2. Alrighty.
Going to Utah.
There's still the 2015 one, Patrick. You can still claim.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Just out of stipulation, I'm going with the 2015. I had no other choice. I had to have it.
Just having the title Point Break in my top 5 that sounds good.
Not the same. Hey, Pat, you still had a win there because we did get to the sports draft and you did choose him as one of your quarterbacks.
I did. I got him as a backup quarterback. I think he's quarterback number 2 on my fantasy movie
number
journal.
2. Put him as number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2. All right.
Nice to meet you, number 2.
I swear that yeah, we'll have to do a spy film soon because that's gonna be
yes.
We're gonna do spy films. Let's go over to Will for his number 3.
All right. So for my next one, I'm gonna pick a movie that is based on a book, and recently it's actually been spawning its own movie series where it brings back the main character to do more, solve more crimes, and
The
it's
Mummy.
Oh, it's The Murder on the Orient Express.
Are you going old school or new school?
I'm gonna go with the new school because I love the cast, and I think that the person that they got to play, what's his name, the
Hercule
detective guy,
Poirot.
that guy, the guy that they got to play him is pretty much ideal casting. He does such a phenomenal job as the guy.
And I want to say it's Kenneth Branagh is also like directing those. So he's starring in them, he's directing them, he's producing them. He might even be like co-writing them, like he used to do for the because he was a big Shakespearean actor. So he did all these great Shakespeare adaptations, and now he's doing all these because he's done 3 of those performances now as Hercule.
Yeah.
Hercule.
One of the actors that got me interested in, Pat will know because he's one of my favorite guys from Hamilton, is Leslie Odom Jr. This was one of his first big movie turnouts. And then that's when he kind of spawned his career.
Wait. Is that Aaron Burr, sir?
Like I said. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm glad that came. Now, do you like the rest of the series it's come out with, or are you kind of not a fan of them so far?
I haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
I've only seen that one, but the other ones they look so good, and I want to see them, but I haven't found them on a streaming service yet. Yeah,
So, Will, you do have another pick.
no,
That's it?
No,
Oh no, it's Pat.
we're skipping
yeah.
Patrick.
I'm skipping Pat.
we'll get to you.
My number 3 is one of my all-time favorites. I think it's a classic story of rise and fall. Um, it is a crime movie. It is the only gangster movie that made my list. It is Scarface.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had to go with Scarface. This is one of my favorite Pacino roles, other than I would say, The Godfather and probably Dog Day Afternoon is one of my personal favorites of his. But this movie it's kind of perfect in its own little way. I think it just the way the gradual movement between the story and everything. It's perfect. The soundtrack alone, the soundtrack with the score. I think it's Giorgio Moroder who did the score for it, mixed in with the classic '80s tunes that are in it. Like "Take It to the Limit" or "Push It to the Limit." We know that this movie is like like I think it created like a kind of like a pop culture. It was within the '80s, right? Early '80s.
It
This
created
movie.
the world. It's creating the world. Come on now. I can't do the
It's,
Pacino.
the world is yours. It's got one of the most classic lines in movie history, right? Say hello to my little friend.
You want to play? Okay.
Okay, you want to play rough? You want to go to war? I'll go to war.
That just turned into Sylvester Stallone, buddy.
Did it? It's not calling Adrian in, am I?
Whoa.
I was thinking more. I am the law. Come on.
No, but it's just I love the movie. Like I said, it's perfect in my opinion. I know it's kind of controversial when it came out, and a lot of people don't care for it. It is a little too long, but honestly, if you once you get into the movie, it kind of flows pretty smoothly. So
And you get a gorgeous Michelle Pfeiffer, like all the way. It just
exactly,
like
prime
that.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Let the time just fly by now.
Free Catwoman.
This is by far. I put this in the top 5 for Pacino, just right underneath Jill or Jack and Jill. Right? No, I'm just
Jack.
Derailed.
Dunkin'
His Dunkachino.
The Dunkin' Donuts song. Come on now, everybody.
Dunkachino.
I thought he was gonna say like Ocean's 13 or something.
We broke John on that one. Nah. Okay.
And then I got back to back here. This one is one of my personal favorites as well. Kind of a deep cut. One of my favorite Bruce Willis movies of all time, The Last Boy Scout.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Shane Black love. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love this movie. Halle Berry is in it for 5 minutes. She dies.
As a stripper.
Spoiler.
Yeah, well, it's 30 years old. Okay, not spoil. Hey, what do you want me to do? Sorry,
There's a new generation of kids that might want to watch that, and you just ruined it.
It happens John knows. I mean, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen the movie, but I mean, it happens within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, no, I've seen it recently. I'm a big Shane Black fan, and
okay,
he wrote that in his like cocaine days. It shows. It's amazing.
Just going back,
the perfect '90s cop movie. Like it's even got it to the point where like how in the '90s one movie that stuck out to me, and this is kind of like an off rail for this, but the first Batman from Tim Burton.
Yeah.
You know how they're in the offices and it's super smoky for like no reason.
It's got that. Yeah.
There's that effect where it's like I don't know.
The cinematography.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like the smog and all that. I don't know. But anyway, Taylor Negron as the bad guy in this is great.
So good.
He's so good. The first scene of this movie. I mean, it's a sports movie. I actually drafted Billy Cole. You know him, Mr. B Dog.
Yep.
The first scene is this guy is running and he's supposed to place, or he has to get a touchdown, or else he's gonna get killed after the game. So he ends up bringing a gun onto the field. Ain't life a bitch? But no,
I have to interrupt you quick though, because let's go back to the Halle Berry bit. Oh, she's only in it for 5 minutes. If you want more, go watch Catwoman. That would probably be your pitch too.
Flintstones, bro.
Flintstones.
Yeah.
She's in
No,
it
but I
for
think
15 minutes. Okay.
what I like, Shane Black, bursts onto the scene writing Lethal Weapon, makes more money than any screenwriter's ever made for writing a movie. He half writes Lethal Weapon 2, but gets fired because of his cocaine habit. He rewrites several other scripts, and then he gets Last Boy Scout sold. He goes into rehab and disappears for ever before coming back with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But like you can see his imprint on like 80s and 90s buddy cop.
That's
like,
my favorite Christmas
movies.
movie.
It's so good.
Mhm.
He's a really, and he did Nice Guys with Russell Crowe not too long ago, Ryan Gosling. But he gets like buddy chemistry stuff, and it works really well with Damon Wayans and
Yeah.
Bruce Willis in Boy Scouts.
I think it's a really underrated Damon Wayans movie.
Does he have really movies?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you can say Major Pain,
Yes.
or I know he's he's in
White,
Living
was it white?
Color
Isn't he in White Chicks?
Yes. No, different. That's his
Is that a
brother.
different Wayans?
Yeah, different Wayans. Marlon is.
Yeah, he's not in. Damon Wayans isn't in Don't Be a Menace to South Central, I think, right? Those are the other two Wayans brothers.
Yeah, he's in one with Adam Sandler too, if I'm not mistaken. A cop.
He's
film.
in the original
He is
Beverly
Bulletproof.
Hills Cop too, isn't he? In Beverly Hills Cop, he's the one selling the bananas.
Yes,
He's
he's the one selling on the bananas. He puts in the tailpipe. Yes.
Dude, Bulletproof. That's a really.
That's a good Adam Sandler movie that people tend to forget about too. I liked him in that movie.
Deep
Right.
or
You know what, Mister? Yeah, no, we're not.
The Glimmer, wasn't he in The Glimmer Man with Steven Seagal?
Yes.
Seagal, man. He doesn't love a little Under Siege.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Sorry, I've derailed
Yeah,
us
that was
with
fun.
Damon.
Yeah.
No, we're on the Under Siege.
Did you ever give your next
Yeah, that's
pick?
how we
Yeah,
got
he
on.
did.
That was my
Last
next
Boy
pick.
Scout. All right. Well, let's go to your number
Okay.
4.
All right. So I don't know which one I want to go with. But I think I'm gonna go with the movie that has the one man that Keri has told me that she would let me have if I ever had the opportunity, and that's Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, and Gal Gadot.
That's a good one. That's
the first movie on this list I have not seen.
Oh, you have to.
It's a good.
I'm
movie.
writing it down.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's full of comedy, full of slapstick, not really slapstick, but like kind of dumb humor, but also
I
very
will
smart.
say, go to the bathroom before you watch it because you will pee your pants.
Yes. Ryan,
you know me well.
You wouldn't think it, but
bring it
Ryan
back.
Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson are actually a really good duo.
I would like to see more with them.
Well, thank you, Will, for giving me a new movie to watch. I'm pumped on this.
We want a full book report the next time.
I'm in.
All right, Keri, you are on the clock.
All right. So, getting trickier now.
Input Jeopardy music.
No, wait a minute. That's the wrong song for this. It's Law and Order. Remember. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah. Well,
Sorry.
so I think I'm gonna go with this really awesome biographical crime drama, Lawless.
Ooh,
Nice pick.
Good
That's
one.
a good pick.
Yep. Not
Good
only
one.
is Tom Hardy really delicious to look at, but it actually is a true life, like
It's a true story.
So
yeah, that's the word I was going for. My brain just derailed.
I got it. It's
I was
life.
thinking of. So did you like him in Dark Knight? I have to ask now at this point. Bald headed Tom Hardy.
So funny
Yeah.
story is he was just coming off of making that movie when he did Lawless, which is why none of his clothes like fit, and he literally had to act like he was a tree because he he was too bulked up so that he wore like 1,000 pounds of clothing. And no, I didn't like him as Bane.
I was born in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't.
But I mean, Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, Guy Pearce. Oh my god,
That's a good movie.
like he was creepy but cool at the same time. I'm like, I don't know. It's a good movie.
So I lied in the beginning of the film where I said I wasn't choosing a movie that had gangs in it. Technically, this isn't a really big gang movie, if that makes sense.
Liar! It's gonna be Gangs of New York.
No,
It's in the title.
no, but it does.
It doesn't count.
But
It's New Jack City.
let's see if Keri can get this, because knowing Keri in the past, knowing Will in the past, we're big Lord of the Ring fans. Viggo Mortensen is in this film.
This might be the first time I'm getting sniped all night. If this is happening,
I already know what it is.
I think I know what it is, and I've got the movie. I literally have the poster on my phone right here, so I can flip it around if you get it.
Eastern Promises.
No.
Oh, I'm so scared right now.
I think I know what it is.
Of violence.
Yeah.
Oh,
You son of a gun! You sniped me for the first time tonight. You sniped me.
That's 3 victims. Well, I died twice.
This,
Oh,
this is
I got shot after I was dead.
so this is one I was scared. So I talked to John about some comic book movies I was toying with throwing in. I was kind of scared in saying it because I was like, this is a perfect crime film.
so good.
And it
so
is
good.
based off a comic.
Yeah.
I like Viggo Mortensen in this film that he does have this double-sided life that we don't know about, and how gradually we learn about this double-sided life. Ed Harris, by far, if I had to make a list of top 5 performances, this would be one of my top 5s for him, because he plays that maniacal gangster that wants his revenge. And having that William Hurt, I would love to see more as him. I want to see more Richie.
He's so good.
It's not a role you expect him in. And I'm not going to lie, I thought his little goatee looked really stupid.
Hilarious.
It's like the funniest shit you'll ever see in this movie. It's just this.
He has the best line in the whole movie, too, when Viggo like escapes when they're about to kill him. He's like, how do you fuck that up? They had 3 guys ready to kill him, and he gets away.
I just love how he just
so good.
He craps on his guys after. It's like, you had one job. What's your problem?
And how a great way to look at how an actor can have one scene in a movie, which is ultimately one scene that he's in at the very end, and yet absolutely own a character.
Right. It's one of those things. Even Maria Bello in this film, I think, is fantastic. I think Maria Bello, being Heidi Stahl, the wife of Tom Stahl, it is just fantastic to see it. The way it ends, it comes off kind of creepy, but you see like they finally accept him, that he has finally put this life aside to have a family, to be something that he's proud of, you know. But I think the only thing I hated about this film is when he does reveal to Heidi that he is who they say he is. I didn't like that scene as much because it's just like, it just wasn't Viggo, I guess was a good way to put it. I think that's the only way I really critique the film, is that the way he comes about, it's like, oh, well, I didn't think I would do it. It took me 3 years. And it's like, dude, shut up. Like, at this point, you got caught. Like, your son heard it. Everybody heard it in this film. You know, that is still one of the more powerful scenes, is when they're on the front yard and the son picks up the rifle and kills Ed Harris's role. By God, this is very brutal. This is not for kids. Do not show this. Their art design and everything was just bad.
I'm gonna write that down. Don't show my daughter.
Don't.
Well, and what I loved about the movie too was like, it shows more than just like crime and gangster. It shows the impact of crime and violence. Like, you see the ripple effect the characters are not escaping from. It's tainted them. It's marked them.
Well, let's talk about Jacksaw. I think that's a great way to put it. The son is the best way to look at that, because he is not violent. he is trying to show like, hey, I don't want to have any trouble here. He's the smart aleck one, but he's just like, hey, I don't want trouble. But when it really comes down to it, it's the whole thing of instincts and survival that does trigger this violence a lot from not only him, but Tom. Tom does that too. So that's why I said it's just fantastic to see this film. I just watched it the other day. I recommended it to Pat to watch. This is a great Viggo Mortensen film other than Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. I will still put that, and Green Book would probably be my other one with them.
So check out Eastern Promises too, because that one you hardly recognize him. It's phenomenal.
I mean, I recognized him when he was nude knife fighting, but that was like hard to not know. Like, that's definitely Viggo.
Everybody knows his ass.
Yeah. There's a dimple on his right cheek.
I love that
birthmark. Got it.
There's a clip of him fishing with his Lord of the Rings costume on still, like he's fishing. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I know this is, but that's why I said when it came to the gangster film, like there is gangsters in this, but it's not really primarily focused on gang.
No, not at all.
Focused on Tom, and Tom was an old pretty much hitman who went around and did that. I had to add one comic book movie on my list because I punched myself and said no Road to Perdition.
Couldn't help himself.
So it was hard for me, and Pat knows how much I love Road to Perdition. John, you know how much I love Road to Perdition
for sure.
And then our scores conversation. But that's what I said. This is a great movie, and History of Violence is also scored by Howard Shore. So great music to go along with the great mystery behind Tunstall is great. So I'll turn it over to John for his last back-to-back pick.
That hurt. But I'm glad there's love for it. So I'm gonna go with I wanted a little more comedy on my list, and I wanted more. I haven't had a heist film. So I'm gonna go with another movie that won somebody an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. I'm gonna go with 80s classic for me, A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh my god!
I freaking love this movie. I've seen it a million trillion times. I think it's John Cleese wrote it. It's a phenomenally well-written movie. It's like it's practically like a sex comedy hiding itself inside of a heist movie. It's just I love all the lies and duplicity. I love the games everybody's playing. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis is just stunning and amazing. But obviously, Kevin Kline, the Academy Award winner, just owns this character. He is so phenomenal. But of course, the Monty Python guys all scattered through, just really doing great stuff.
Well, that's what makes the movie so awesome, is just like it's that
words.
Yeah, words. See, I love it.
No, it captures that.
When I love something so much, I can't talk. So
you get that Monty
knocked
Python
herself out of this competition.
It's got those Monty Python vibes. It's got that Holy Grail vibe where, you know, when Michael Palin's doing his stutter and he keeps killing that lady's dogs. It's so phenomenal. And yeah, so many great layers, and Cleese is a great performance as well. And and
the fish, can't forget the fish.
Yeah, the sequence where he's eating the fish in front of Palin, it's just so good. It's just so good. Everything about it, I love it. So I had to pick that as my heist film. Darn you, Brandon. All right, I think I don't want to go with another like classic. There's a lot of great classics, and I'm obviously a big Chinatown fan, but I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna go with Training Day. Basically the response to Last Boy Scout in some ways, I guess you could say.
That's awesome.
A great like police like corruption film, and two staggeringly great performances from Ethan Hawke and Denzel, and both nominated for Oscars. Obviously Denzel won, but like so great, the rapport between them and the push and pull of the tension between them, so great. You know, Scott Glenn's got a great little cameo part in it. Lots of great drama in and around how far can Denzel push this kid, and even though he needs him, he's got to like prove it. It's just a great tour de force from those two gentlemen.
I have to ruin everybody's day. I have yet to get through that whole movie.
It's hard to get through. which is why I needed a fish called Wanda on my list to temper these other really
Guess
heavy.
what? At this point, with Keri, King Kong got shit on you at this point.
Well, it's just like the whole Fear and Loathing thing where like I've watched that thing like 20 times and I get to the same spot and I think I fall asleep and I wake up in the last minute of it. So I only know like 30 minutes of the whole movie.
Sure. I mean, for me, it's like it's the movie that makes me sweat. Like that, I'm constantly feeling like, something bad's gonna happen to Ethan. And then, of course, when he's in the bathtub, that sequence where he's like face down in the bathtub, and you're just like, this. Where's this movie gonna? Yeah, I could never predict what was gonna happen, and that was a lot of fun to be on that ride.
And it's a fun one too because even when you rewatch it, it still gets you on your toes a little bit. It's like,
oh
what's
yeah,
gonna happen now? Like,
oh yeah.
But it's one of those things. Like I put that in iconic lines, like I just said, like the King Kong ain't got shit on me. That is like by far one. I put this as one of Denzel Washington's best performances, still to this day.
Truly.
I put like him, Glory. I put Philadelphia up there.
Yes, I think Philadelphia is his most underrated performance because he's easily to get ignored when you're looking at what Tom Hanks is doing. But I love Denzel in that movie, and he has so many layers of like fear and homophobia and like just concern about his kids and his health and just really great performance.
So before I go to my next pick, I do have to ask Pat, are you okay with me taking this next pick because it is one you introduced me to?
Oh, I am with open arms. You can have it.
He double snipes people tonight. I don't know.
Hey,
Pat,
I don't think it was on his list because I was shocked it hasn't went so far.
Sure, you can take it, you greasy shithead.
I'm sniping everybody. I got bounties on everybody now at this point. Now I'm going with my only comedy on my list. I love this. You love the whole fun heist. I'm going with Bottle Rocket. This is Wes Anderson's very first film. This is Owen Wilson's and Luke Wilson's very first film. This is one Pat got me into. I enjoy this movie a lot. It's probably one of the only Wes Anderson films I can literally sit there and watch on repeat because it's just fun to watch. James Caan, though, I cannot do.
I love Caan.
James Caan was terrible in this effing film. He is the awkward. Well, when you literally look at his filmography, right? You got Godfather, you got A Bridge Too Far. Then you go to a movie like this, and it's like that just does not fit you. Why did you play a role like this? And I know, Pat, you said Bill Murray was originally supposed to be.
Yeah, there was talk like because I mean, if you think about it too, it makes sense because I mean he's in like 9 of Wes Anderson's movies. I think him and Owen Wilson and there's another guy too. I think that all 3 guys that usually show up in his movies. But yeah.
It's a fun heist film. It's a fun comedy. Everything does not go right for them. And how they start off their crime spree, they go rob a bookstore of all often places they could go to. They
got that nose tape on there.
Yeah, that was like the stupidest thing too. It's like they can still see your face. And they're like, yeah, we successfully robbed them. We got like $500 from them. It's just one of those fun comedies that you love. I will still say this to this very day, Luke Wilson, never grow your hair out ever again like that because that looked terrible on you. You look like Coconut Head from Dad's Declassified guide. It was just that hair. That would go on like the worst haircuts of all time.
I think I really think
gonna do a catwalk off.
God,
he's so hot right now.
I really think Owen Wilson kind of steals the show in this.
Yeah,
right?
it's Dignan. Yeah, Dignan is like the funny. Like I love how they do their practice heist and they use their what was it?
Kind of 75-year plan.
Yeah, their 75-year plan. They rob Luke Wilson's house, Anthony's house. It's like, and they're like, that's the earrings I bought my mom. Why did you steal that of all things? Like, and it's just like, it's a fun movie to watch. You can sit there and watch it all the time. It's just, I love their little yellow jumpsuits and the lawn wranglers is what they're called. It's just fun to watch this movie and not sit in their last heist by far is like the funniest thing I have ever seen on screen. Everything that can go wrong did go wrong. And then Owen Dignan goes, oh, this is my time. And he gets arrested. within like 5
Like they'll never catch me because I'm innocent.
And he goes into the room that has no door in it, and he gets tackled and beat up by the cops. And then, oh yeah, I made belt buckles, for everybody, and now I'm doing this.
I think also bungling criminals can be some of the most entertaining. And we've talked about Lebowski, and I think the Coen brothers have a whole history with like Raising Arizona and just some really buck wild failure criminals.
Man, that's another wild movie.
It's just a lot of fun, I think, sometimes comedically, certainly, to watch people fail and not have it be you. Like, just enjoy their suffering can be so entertaining.
That's what I said. And the colors in this movie, I know Pat's mentioned that many times, is fantastic. The music in this film is fantastic.
And it's what's cool about this one compared to a lot of his other movies is it doesn't really. It has the colors and the palettes and everything, but it's not as vibrant as like your Grand Budapest Hotel or your Life Aquatic. Life Aquatic's one of my.
Love that movie.
Yeah. I love it, man. I should have had a red cap on right now.
We're a Royal Tenenbaums house, but I love it all.
Yeah.
He's a director I have to have a good taste for, and that Grand Budapest and Bottle Rocket are by far two of my favorites of his. So
the 2 minutes up yet?
Yeah. Whatever, Will. All right, Keri, go ahead and do your last pick.
Oh, it's me. Cool.
Willie was rushing, and he's like, "It's not even my pick."
So I'm thinking for my final pick, it's not technically a crime movie, but it's got like bank robberies and it's a
crime movie.
It's got crime in it.
Crimes are committed. We talked about this before.
Exactly. It's kind of a Robin Hood-esque in a way, but it actually helped me ace my Shakespeare test in like the 6th grade. It's Best Men with Sean Patrick Flanery, Luke Wilson, Dean Cain, and Drew Barrymore.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's a deep cut too. You guys are making me feel bad now with all the picks I went. I was like, oh, I went popular, but
so yes, it's educational.
So we go to Will for his
all right.
Okay.
So before I give my pick, I gotta ask, will there be honorable mentions real quick afterwards, or are we just gonna
talk about some that we missed?
Okay.
What we told
then that's gonna determine whether I wanted to do my safe pick or my controversial pick. So
what's your controversial pick?
No, I'm doing the safe pick. The controversial one will be honorable mentions.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go with a Leonardo DiCaprio film that at the time I didn't like him in, but with later films he's grown on me. But I went with Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, see, that one almost made my list.
That was on my list.
Yeah, back then I didn't like Leo. I didn't like any of his movies, but for some reason that was just such a fun movie. It's like just seeing the adventure he goes on and how many lies that he can go through before he gets caught.
Also based on a true story.
Yeah.
And two, Tom Hanks and him are perfect together in that film. Their chemistry works off each other. But that's Tom Hanks, period. Tom Hanks can pretty much work with anybody.
And Walken is great.
Walken, yeah.
Of course, he's great.
What is it?
Yes. Yeah, he's like, Frank, you come home, watch.
All right, Pat. It's not a Walken.
Oh man, I could go on. Mine's a classic, cheesy but great. I don't know if it's cheesy. It's fantastic. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a Keanu Reeves movie. It is Speed.
Ooh.
Dennis Hopper was fantastic in this movie. Jeff Daniels as a supporting actor in this, kind of the cop that's, not on the bus that's about to blow up. But no, I love the whole concept of, it can't go under 50 miles an hour, which, it's unrealistic. How's that going to happen? Especially in LA traffic, impossible.
Hey, Shang-Chi did it. You know what? Anybody can do it at this point.
Yeah, dude. No, but Sandra Bullock is spot on in this movie. Roll Tide. But no, I love it. I love how Dennis Hopper is kind of like this twisted, psychopathic bomber guy. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just he's kind of relentless. Just him on the phone with people, giving them negotiations, and it's great. But
The real shocker is how they managed to come up with a sequel.
Yes, that's a
Sandra
terrible.
Bullock in that movie too.
No, only Sandra Bullock
No.
turns.
Wait, who?
Sandra Bullock was the main
She
was the main person in the movie.
Jason Patrick.
Keanu Reeves was not.
And for good reason. He probably thought this was a stupid idea too. But yet we get Bill and Ted 2, Bill and Ted 3, and now we're getting Bill and Ted 4.
Hey,
On
those are
Keanu
amazing.
Reeves, on Keanu Reeves, can we just agree that Keanu Reeves himself is a cult classic?
Yes.
Just every movie he has his fan base.
John Wick. You know, John Wick's the biggest ones. I'm shocked
We
those
lost
come
him.
up there and in conversations. John Wick is essentially a crime film.
Yeah.
It's a bounty hunter film, but it is a crime film.
You know what's crazy?
What's funny is I think everybody is just invested in his freaking dogs.
Again, I've had a bad day, you know.
Yeah.
But let's go over some of our honorables. Were there movies that you were shocked didn't make the list, or you guys almost picked? 'Cause I'll be honest, I'm shocked Goodfellas did not go off the list.
I felt really weird about putting gangster movies on my top 5 crime movies. In my personal opinion, I think there's just it's its own thing, even though it is crime. I just was trying. That's why I picked Scarface as my one, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
Don't worry, I got you. I had two gangster movies for you. But no, I mean I agree. I think there were definitely some movies that by Scorsese that people could consider. I am not a Scorsese fan. I will freely admit that I generally don't love his movies. So I did not have a single one on my list. Sorry.
Like,
Yeah, I had.
Go ahead, Will. What was your
pick?
Let's ask that now.
My controversial pick. Okay, well, it's more controversial just for the way media took it and how it got like really blown out of proportion. But it was The Sound of Freedom.
Ooh.
I thought that was a really well executed movie, and it tackled really well on the real world, like the real story of what happened. And it's dark, and it's still happening. That's the scariest part. But it was so like insightful to get that background of the story and then seeing how it plays out. It's an amazingly shot film, and it makes you think, and it's just a terrifying thought that it's still happening today.
Another one, and I'm gonna bring up John a little bit. I'm gonna kind of snipe you a little bit on this one. Put The Godfather on there for Marlon Brando, right? What about On the Waterfront? That to me is a crime-based movie. It could have been a contender. Yeah,
absolutely. There were a lot of classics that I considered. I mean, I have a giant poster of Chinatown in my living room. It was very hard to leave that one off. And The Sting was my other comedy option. I was really very close to choosing The Sting. I think it's just an absolutely phenomenal movie about grifters and trying to rob and steal but using your mind and not your gun or whatever.
If Patrick would have chose Bottle Rocket, I had a classic on my list. I was gonna go with Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah. Like that to me is iconic, the most iconic duo in all history that you can think of, and they bring it with two of the most iconic actors at that point in time too, and they just mesh so together. French Connection was another big one I thought about.
Thelma and Louise, great one, yeah.
Yes.
My deep cut that I didn't end up choosing, and I've watched a ton, I really love, because I like Bill Duke, the actor-director, and he did a movie with Jeff Goldblum and Lawrence Fishburne called Deep Cover that I really think is freaking phenomenal. It's all about Fishburne is this like cop that is they don't really think he's got a long history that's going to work in that force, and so they ask him to be an undercover cop working as like a drug dealer. And he gets tied in with Jeff Goldblum's sleazy lawyer turned drug peddler, and it gets dark and twisted, and really great performances all around.
There's another one I almost put on there, and I know I talked to Pat about this beforehand to see if he viewed this as a crime film or not. It's Uncut Gems. I keep putting this on my list because
that was in my honorable mentions too.
Yeah, Uncut Gems by far is a very I think Adam Sandler, and I'll still put this out there to this day. Hashtag Adam Sandler got snubbed. I will put that up there as he got snubbed from an Oscar. That was by far one of his.
They didn't even nominate him, right? Or did they?
No, he did not get nominated.
Wow, dude, that's a crime in itself, right there.
That's what, even Kathy Bates and a whole bunch of actors even came out and said he got snubbed because of his performance in that film. It's perfect how he did it. It's what revitalized his career in my eyes. And
then because he was having a very huge downhill slope with his movie career, especially when he did what was that the twins movie?
Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill. That was a huge down point for him, and anything that he was the few movies he was making before that, and I think there was one movie he made after that, and they were just very not hitting the mark. And then he does that movie, and all of a sudden he pops back into the limelight, and he's doing more drama movies, and he gets the comedy movies still, but yeah, it's he was about to go under before that movie.
It's sad though, because when you think of his comedy movies, you think of Happy Gilmore, you think of Billy Madison. But when you really think about it, he is a good serious actor. He's done Punch Drunk Love, he's done Spanglish, he's done a lot of good serious movies. And Uncut Gems by far is my favorite with him in it. And if we did a list, it'd be in my top 3 at least for him. So I almost put that one even on my list because I figured that is a crime movie that people tend to forget. And another one I'm shocked is 7 did not make anybody's list.
I was surprised we didn't have more serial killer movies in general, because I think that is a crime genre that is incredibly popular. And it was hard not. I just chose one.
Be a genre all in its
totally. I mean, Silence of the Lambs,
which I would love.
I was right on the border of Silence of the Lambs, but I went Zodiac instead it's such a great, it's so prolific genre, right?
But to add another film to the honorable mentions, a really good one that I think people forget all the time, but it was The Gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Everyone always forgets about that one, but it's that's a really intense film.
Totally.
What was it? There's a whole bunch, even Shawshank. I was shocked. Didn't get.
Dude, I'm surprised Pulp Fiction was never
again. You know me enough. I'm not a Tarantino guy, so for Tarantino, it's hard for me to watch a lot of Tarantino films.
I had one of his movies on my list, and that was Reservoir Dogs. For me, that felt the most crime straight up for me. But in the end, I was it was always one tier down.
I had that on
I've got 2 of those.
I guess
they couldn't really be classified as crime, so I didn't really put them out there. But they are 2 of my favorite movies, and I know one people hardly even think of anymore, and that's Broken Arrow with John Travolta and
Christian Slater. Yeah, John Woo.
Yeah, Samantha Mathis, and Ed Harris is in it.
Yes,
I love Ed Harris.
Yeah, and then the other one was The Saint.
Yeah.
Ooh, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, Elizabeth Shue.
You got me thinking about Face Off now. I'm like, oh.
That's another good one too.
You want me to tell you another one that I'm shocked Will did not put on his list, because I had it on my list too. I'm curious if you did. One me and you used to watch a lot as kids. A robotic cop walking around.
Oh,
the RoboCop. I was toying with it. That
good sci-fi, yeah.
And Bonnie and Clyde were right there,
sure.
back in the case that happens. That movie still makes me laugh.
I had all my Guy Ritchie films.
And on the subject of robots, on the subject of robots and cops, iRobot.
Yeah,
that's the one that
good murder mystery. Yeah,
Alan Tudyk is the robot. I'm shocked you didn't put that one on there, because I know you got an Alan Tudyk fan.
I had a whole
college kids.
College kids.
Oh, we could have put that on there.
Damn it.
Never fails.
I had a whole bunch of war on drugs movies that I considered as well. Movies like Traffic, Sicario. I was thought about that. And the one I like, because not a lot of people saw, is Narc. with Jason Patrick as well, and I just some really powerful stuff, obviously in and around crime in general. But in the end, I was like, I don't know if I love those as much as some of the others.
I thought this was kind of a weird. I guess it's kind of crime, but Boogie Nights. It was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie I was thinking about. I was like, that Don Cheadle scene in the donut shop, like, get Terry. But yeah, no, that was another one that barely I was kind of toying around with, but I'm glad I didn't pick it. So.
But yeah, this will be a good way to end out this podcast. We want to thank John for coming on. So, John, tell the fans where they can find you.
Yeah, John's Comics with Kids. I do a little TikTok, but Instagram and YouTube is where the best places to find me.
Yeah, and you can also find him. He's on a lot of our Comic Talker podcasts, so check us him out. Will and Keri and myself find us on Comic Talkers. We run anime, comic book content. We also do Star
Look
Wars.
for me behind the scenes.
Hey, you're on it. You're on our Walking Dead. Okay, you know what? Coming soon.
I keep you guys on track. It's fine.
Yeah, you're the one that puts us in line. Like, hey, don't do this.
It's okay. You're on payroll. You don't pay me.
You guys get paid?
And then Pat, send us out.
Yeah, thank you
We're
guys.
the Millers.
Thank you, all my guests, for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you guys. This was fun. I had a good time. Thank you, B-Dog, as always. And just remember, we do it just for flicks. Good night, guys.